There's just 1 minute to showtime.
The engines are on.
The following program is brought to you in living color.
When they wrote up the systems and the rule set that we use, did working people get to write a line? What class of men on pen and paper jotted down their clues? With capital the heart of their design. When 90 million want a thing, but some shareholders say no, which class of people get to have their way? The people read the fine print, say that this thing has got to go, and we'll start writing a new contract here today. Don't you know that hundreds will work and one man keeps the money? They don't think they gotta tell us why. When they say the new social contract, all the bosses will be gobsmacked and everyone will want a sign. Oh, yeah, everyone will want a sign. It's time to play Did One or Both of Us Break? I was apprehensive because it's just giving me like a spinning wheel for Nicolette, which, yeah, that's what you're seeing now. So it might just be me. We're back. Possibly.
Yes, it went down right at the time that I was putting up putting on the links on everything. So, all right, off to a great start. But it wouldn't be an episode of Social Contract if everything was working like it should.
It's Daylight Savings Time. It's somehow
Daylight Savings Time's fault. It's the curse of the Daylight Savings Time. Fucking time change always messes us up. Like I cannot make my Brian understand how time change works. It just doesn't. I cannot understand it. It doesn't work. It does not compute. I don't understand forward or backward. I just understand that I fucking hate it and it ruins my life. So we're every time that there's a time change, we could never manage to remember what we did the last time. So we're just
I try to err on the side of early.
We're like talking and we're like, what do we? Because he doesn't change back. I do. Most of the country does for some ungodly reason. It's social control, I'm sure.
I'll keep the rant protracted, but yeah, Arizona, Hawaii, like some of the only places that just don't do it. But if you have any contact with anybody outside of that, then it still becomes your issue. Because you're like, wait, are they going to be earlier or later? And then so
yeah,
you still have to. Like, are we going? Yeah. It's like I'm like, maybe Nicolette's internet's down and I got to start the show by myself, or I'm an hour off, but because of
no, yeah, and it always takes forever. But we know that like you guys are all going through the same thing too, one way or another. So. If you are in New York, then you are probably in election mode. With Zoran Mandani having 95% approval rate, if he doesn't win, there's something afoot there.
Well, that's the bummer. It's like if he somehow gets screwed out of it, because he seems pretty clearly like
I don't think anybody ever gets that much approval rating.
Like Hillary seemed like a shoe-in, and that was wrong. So I don't know. We can totally be wrong with these things, but it seems like he's freaking should win. But if he doesn't, it's like, oh, maybe he was a real one. Like if he doesn't get in, it'll mean he was gonna serve as a problem. But wasn't there an article like last week? It's like Obama called Mamdani, and he's like, we're ready, and you're supposed to see as a good thing that he's like teaming up with the mainstream Democrats. Hooray! Like
yeah, and I've seen like people like at first people who were like identified as socialist or on the left or whatever. A lot of them are really excited. I think they were caught up in the momentum, and then this shit started going on, and I was happy that everybody was happy for a minute. But then again, you start to see like, oh, actually, this is fake. This is
maybe he'll prove us all wrong. Maybe he'll show up and just knock the doors off.
I hope so, honestly. I hope so. I hope that I've been sitting here trashing him all this time and I'm wrong. Like, I don't want to be right about this. I'm just right about everything. Also, Hell got a little fuller today.
Oh, I forgot. I saw it.
Happy crab dance. Dick Cheney is dead. It's unfortunately he didn't die in prison for his crimes.
Yeah, it's just
But
that's what it is with like all these guys. It's kind of the bummer is that no one's ever going to see justice. Biden will be dead. Trump will be dead. Like long before
yes, anybody's willing to say what they did.
they go
And then,
to the
oh my God,
Hague.
get ready for the Democratic. We didn't agree, but he was and his family. Go fuck yourself.
His
Go fuck
last political
yourself.
action was to endorse Kamala Harris, and it wasn't because his heart grew 10 sizes that day because he was the Grinch. It's because, for some reason, mainstream Democrats, which is all that all these bogus socialist parties end up being at the end, it's all the DSA is at the end of the day, it's all Mamdani is at the end of the day, is keep voting for Democrats no matter what. Please don't stop voting for Democrats. Like,
You get what you pay for, people. You do. And I understand, like, a lot of you are sitting there, like, hand wringing, like, well, what am I supposed to fucking do? Like, especially if you're in New York right now. It's like, I understand this system isn't totally gone. Like, you still feel a compulsion to kind of participate in it some way, whether it's local or, but I think more and more people are starting to realize, at least on the national level, you need to withhold your vote. You need to not vote for either one. You can't in good conscience do that. I'm not saying like you're not a leftist if you no, a lot of people feel like they are in a really bad situation when it comes to voting and they don't know what to do. So I don't necessarily blame you for it,
I
but
vote on the
you
proposition.
really gotta see what's going on here. You really, don't do the fell for it again award. Okay. Like I understand the conundrum, we all face it at different times,
Why do
but
Dick Cheney's and Kamala Harris and the Democrats, who you inevitably must be told to vote for by even the quote CPUSA, Communist Party USA, at the end of the day, it was endorsing Kamala Harris and saying that Trump is the fascism and only Trump, though not both of them. It's specifically and only Trump is fascist, and Kamala's going to somehow save us from that. I don't know.
right.
Like, how did your politics come into alignment? How are you agreeing with Marco Rubio? How are you agreeing with
Right. Yeah,
John
that's
McCain?
not okay. That's not okay. Like that's the thing. If you're getting endorsed by the Cheneys, like that's
You're
not
being
okay.
manipulated. Like you're.
Right? Yeah. So
It
anyway,
isn't all
I
the
don't think I said
imperialism
it.
is bad, but we need to go into Venezuela. It isn't all the
Right. Yeah.
imperialism is bad, but we got to go into Sudan and Nigeria.
Yeah, and of course things are bad, and we knew things would be bad, and like we're really like we're on like the rocket ride of fascism. Like this is like seriously like overdrive of fascism. But it's like, is this what it's going to take to wake people up? Because you've heard me say it a million times on this show that Americans will bend and bend and bend and bend and bend and bend, and when it hits the breaking point, they bend some more. So if
What
you
do you
want to
say when
stop being part of
Mamdani?
that,
Yeah. What do you
what's
say when
that?
Mamdani? What do you say when Mamdani inevitably goes back on everything and betrays all? Well, you
Right.
see, that's not a priority right now. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
you
what do
don't
you say? What
understand
do you
how
do?
politics works. Things happen incrementally.
Grow
That's
up.
what we always get told,
It's
right?
better to
Like
have him than someone worse. I'm like, how? How is it better? It's just
if
the
he's
same.
enacting the same agenda but with a nice smile, what's the difference? Then
Okay.
that was the whole I'm speaking nonsense with Kamala
Yeah.
Harris and
I don't
all
want to
that
spend
shit.
my whole. I won't take too long.
Right.
I'll cut off Dems bad rant.
Right. Yeah. If you're here, you probably already know that. So
That's why
welcome
we're
to the
friends.
show.
That's how we meet.
Well, things get kind of crazy when stuff breaks down like right at the beginning of the hour. So yeah, welcome to the show, cousins. We're glad to have you with us. Really, only what we're here to do is vent and commiserate, and hopefully give you some talking points to yell at your family during Thanksgiving. So that's where we
Yell
really
at them in
are.
a possibly more constructive way.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you know how to get at them or to them or whatever. You do it in your way. You just take our talking points if you
That's
like
really
them.
the whole point of my food stamps conversation that we're going to get into in the hour here is to give you, because everyone wants to make this a moral thing about who does and doesn't deserve food, when it's like, I think fundamentally, right,
There's
I
a
won't bury
bigger,
my
deeper
leads here.
evil at play here, and guess what? It's capitalism, but only for poor people. So we're going to
Judo throw your weird uncle when he tries to get moral about like, welfare queens and be like, but what about this thing? And he'll probably be like, you know what?
right. And then the whole welfare queen thing was just a propagandist Reagan era bullshit story.
Yes.
Anyway, that wasn't real.
It was focus tested people at
Right. That was just race baiting. It's plain and simple. Like there was no question about it because the welfare queen that like they literally talked about, that literally came out of Reagan's mouth, they were literally saying it was black people. And it wasn't
like
necessarily just black women, queen, but it was like black people are stealing out of white hands. You're going to
and
work
living
and paying taxes.
luxurious lives. These like they're just in they're queens. They're
queen.
living in diamonds.
It was aimed at most especially black women because basically women run households. They raise the children, especially in this era.
Yeah.
It wasn't exactly a split ticket yet, but it was meant to just literally, quite literally, disparage black people, like plain and simple. Like that
Can I
was who it
dive
was
into the
aimed at.
EBT thing? Is this a good point? Can I segue into that?
Yeah, go
Let
go
me
to
pull this
town.
up. This has a point. We're gonna start with a Twitter thread, and you would be correct if you were to criticize me for showing this guy a lot. I show this guy's tweets quite a bit. This is Logo. I think is very. I think he has a lot of interesting things to say. Okay. I promise there's a point to all this. Hang in here with me for a second. Consumerism is what we could term the particular American brand of bourgeois socialism. You heard me talking about social fascism last week and how we kind of have like a bizarro socialism if you look at it in a way. The Great Depression was a result of a loss of consumer expenditure into the economy. People stopped spending money because they had no money. Our welfare state exists to artificially induce consumption, something the state, capital S state, will remember once EBT benefits stop paying out. Then there's a reply to this. I do not know who PJ Cornell is, but he says, I'm a bit apprehensive about this, TBH. I have mixed feelings about it. So many EBT recipients don't work, period. So I don't really think that on net it's somehow morally reprehensible to cut EBT. But consider what may happen when you take the entire lumpen class and tell them they need to work or starve. Many lumpen will not work under any circumstances. I have to wonder what happens then. So he's essentially conjuring the welfare queen, but in like slightly fancier terms.
Right.
When they talk the lumpen class, like that
The
is a
meaning
Marxist
is
thing.
still there. The terms have changed. Don't be fooled.
It's essentially what he's that's what he's arguing. And if he's a good faith person, you could explain that to him, and he might like change his mind. But like when he talks about the lumpen class, that's like prostitutes, criminal. I guess the modern thing would be I'm not trying to fucking throw shade on people here, but it'd be like OnlyFans. Probably would be like a
Anything that doesn't fall into the mainstream, essentially. You're talking about disabled people, you're talking about elderly people, you're talking about children. They don't have jobs a lot of time. You know, the lumpen class. Man, go fuck yourself. Like,
or they're stuck into jobs that are just like the shittiest. Because I mean, okay, some people are out there having a great time with OnlyFans and they're millionaires. Okay, it's probably not the same thing.
Right, but I think the vast majority are like, please look at my feet.
Please help! I need $20 to pay my fucking rent. So I can, it's just like, and they have horrible, shitty lives, and I feel a lot of compassion, and hell, a lot of my friends could be technically coined as lumpen. But the idea that the don't work period wouldn't work under any circumstance. I'm like, no, they do work.
Yeah,
they just don't make enough money.
That also goes to show you that if we're just talking about sex work, most people don't think of that as actual work. Yeah. Like they have this idea of like the happy prostitute type of a thing. Like
if you're like Uber driving and living in your car, it's like the same.
Right? Yeah, like that's what this person is saying.
Like,
that like
paupers, like people on the absolute edge of just the fucking having a really horrible time.
Right. But yes.
Instead of having like being nice about it, he's like, fuck them actually.
Yeah, and then we're not even talking about now, like I keep talking about the jobs report, which is the real indicator of how the economy is going, and that they are negative jobs. We are negative net jobs now. Like and every corporation is like, hey guys, guess what? We're throwing hundreds of thousands of people out of work. Ha ha! Fuck you, AI. Yes. So, and just what I've been saying 4 years now at this point. This is ever since AI started that this was the end goal, and it's not stopping here. So are those people lumpen class? Are those people like the people that have now lost their jobs in this past 2 months or so, past couple of years even, let's say? So I definitely did. And then I was on yesterday, because I'm on there almost every day. I was on Indeed yesterday, and there were like literally zero results. I'm not kidding. Like I've never seen it so barren. It's been going down and down and down, but I've literally never seen it that barren. And I have multiple experiences in multiple fields. I look through multiple fields. I'm not just locked into one. So I can't even imagine what these people are going through that are like one person, or that have like one major marketable skill. And I've got multiple, and I'm out here with nothing. My savings is not going to last forever. And that's what I've basically been living off of at this point. So it's not good. I don't know what happens when my savings runs out. I don't. So I know what these people are going through, but there's a good chance a lot of these people had their fingers in their ears about this the whole time, and then suddenly got hit with get the fuck out at the end of the week. Pack your shit and go. And now they're having to figure out, how do you apply for food stamps? Wait, they're not even giving them out right now. Like, what am I going to do about my bills? What about my credit card debt? So
it's happening to corporate positions. We had Amazon had 13 or 30,000 like middle management layoffs. Not even like drivers. This is
And most people are like mortgaged and credit card debted up to their fucking neck. Like what, they don't have, like, just because they have like maybe a high level job doesn't mean they're not in huge amounts of debt just to like, exist in this fucking country. Yeah. Maybe like nobody talks about how like, the person who takes vacations and has nice cars and does all this and junk. Nobody's caring about how they spend their money, but everybody wants to itemize what's in the card of like an EBT loan. Like that's essentially what we're at here. I'm not even talking billionaires. I'm just like talking about straight up people who have like absolutely credit card debted themselves into, oblivion, like totally mismanaged. Like, why is nobody offering them financial literacy classes? Because they're not on OnlyFans, because they're not prostitutes, because they're not sex workers. Like they had respectable jobs. Well, they don't have jobs now. So anyway, please continue. You had a good point here. So
here's where you can kind of judo this is the only way I can really talk about the topic, because I'm not here to moralize. I'm just describing how our economy was set up to work. Most EBT recipients work. They work, and their wages are not enough to pay for their cost of living and debt servicing, etc. That's the credit card debt we're talking about.
And they work for these major corporations like Walmart and Amazon.
If you, as the state, intercede and cover their food costs or subsidize them, subsidize because like usually it's not a lot. No. This means there is more money from their wages that can go to debt servicing, etc. Like if your bills are covered, then you're gonna make if your absolute basic necessities are covered, then you might put some money on your credit card bill. You're gonna try to pay down your debts, as opposed to if you're like, right now my only money needs to go to food. Then that's what you're going to pay for.
And it doesn't cover like anything. Like you get a fraction of a percentage based on your income. So it won't cover with the cost of food now. It won't cover, but maybe a few days worth of food in most people's cases. So they still have to come up with that money.
If now every working EBT recipient has to pay for all their food, their new household spending will have to take more money from wages to pay for the food. This means less money is available for debt servicing, etc. Maybe now all those Klarna debts stop getting paid off. The reason we subsidize food is because America is a net exporter of food. We subsidize demand for cereal. That's the way you ought to think of it. Think of cereal boxes, okay? So if a bunch of cereal boxes are bought with EBT every day, that's the state writing checks to General Mills. They add a middle person where they write a check to you, and then you just hand that check off to first a Walmart or a Target or a freaking convenience, whatever it is. Like first the retailer, who then passes that on to the actual food maker themselves. And when you look at the percentage of these companies, like the amount of money involved in that, it is kind of staggering, and you kind of look like, oh, this is like a house of cards that is built on EBT. Like half of General Mills' money comes from food stamps in a roundabout way. So if you cancel food stamps, yes, it absolutely hurts the person who cannot buy food now, but it also hurts the people making the food, because now people are buying less food.
Yeah, and spending less money in general. And we're coming into the holiday season when the economy is like desperate for your money. So nobody's going to be spending shit.
We write checks to General Mills because General Mills fed the troops. Like that's how they got picked as like the winner in the game of capitalism. General Mills exports American grain-based products to over 100 countries. Expand this to the other food producers in America. Trump doesn't understand this stuff. He literally subsidized Argentina, undercutting the already ailing American soybean market, that's all true. We all heard about that. So Christmas time, there will be less frivolous spending on the luxuries on credit, because food is going to take up more of the budget. Notice how in this whole conversation, it's not about there's no welfare queen, there's no are you a good bad person, you don't deserve food, blah, blah, because that's kind of irrelevant at the end of the day, because the reason this apparatus exists from the state's material perspective is to subsidize General Mills and Walmart and wages, to keep wages down and to keep the whole freaking thing like held still how it is right now. Like, and if any part of this changes, what happens? Does General Mills, the companies start fucking going out of business? Like, how long can we remove EBT income from the general economy to artificially stimulate consumption? Like I said,
but they won't. They'll leave. That's the thing that people think is impossible. They will leave. They will pack their shit and they will go. They will close operations in America and they will fucking leave. Like, that's how it works.
100 countries, like you said earlier in the thing. 100 countries. All right. Christmas time, less money for Christmas stuff. There won't be as many toys. Well, let's be honest, gift cards at Christmas this year. And then he's quoting an article from, like, what is this, Gallup? while overall average spending estimated is unchanged, but basically saying people are already planning, they've already projected people are going to spend less on Christmas. So like, what does that do? This whole thing becomes like a knock-on domino of fucking up our very fragile, bizarro socialist structure that we have created that holds America together. Loss of STAT benefits could have ripple effects across the economy. This is from Marketplace recently. Is what, NPR? Yeah. If the government shut down, I just want to look at some of the numbers here. Federal snaps $100 billion a year, or $8 billion a month. Nearly 42 million Americans receive SNAP benefits. So that still is like relatively small percentage, but like almost every store I go to, because I live in a metro-ish area, you see the we accept EBT. You see the EBT signs. You see like the workarounds of like, we'll sell you the raw pizza, then we'll bake. Like, obviously this income is important to people.
Right. To the stores, to the manufacturers, to the shareholders, to all these people. They're not going to put up with this kind of shit. Do you think these companies are going to take we get like our cut of this 100 billion or whatever is going to not be there anymore, like, or even for a few months? Like, yeah, they could take that hit for a little bit, but don't for a second think they're not thinking about a contingency plan or talking to other countries.
Help support more than 388,000 jobs. I assume those are the employees of the grocery stores and various food plants, right? And generate 20 billion in wages. What the hell? And 4.5 billion in taxes. Right? It's like, this isn't like chump change. And we're gonna see what happens if you just take a big chunk out of I guess,
Come
eventually the agricultural
January, I think
sector.
we're gonna be seeing things in a very different way.
Ooh.
Then there's no, and then again, I don't like, I this is some stuff that I just heard coming into the show, so I haven't verified this or anything, but essentially, what like a judge said that they had to, that the Trump administration had to actually use the emergency funds and fund SNAP, and they said fine, we'll do it, but we're only going to do half. And then I was hearing as I was coming on, he was like, no, I'm not going to do it, which is what I've been saying the whole time, that he's going to do it. Like, he does that. Like, and this is I think really, really illuminated how absolutely corrupt and broken our system is across the board, because he can just be like, nope, and then doesn't, and then no one cares. There won't be any recourse. There won't be any consequence to that kind of action. He gets to sit there and act like a tyrant king, gets what he wants, does what he wants, and no one's going to do anything. And in the meantime, what Americans do? Bending and bending and bending and bending and bending. So when is your breaking point then? Like, we wouldn't be here had we not reached our own, at least mentally,
We're instead arguing about whether or not people deserve to drink soda with EBT or like.
I don't give a fuck. Okay, like, that's the thing. Like, nobody needs to be worried about what people are buying with EBT. That Coca-Cola and whatever wants that money.
The same company that owns the quote healthy food owns the shitty food anyway, so like it all goes the same guy. Like, why does anyone care?
And then okay, so like, what's the logic in this? You can't buy the soda, but you can buy the sugar cereal. Like, that's like literally the same.
You can get the raw pizza and give it to no one looks at that and goes, oh yes, that makes a lot of sense. Like, what a great system. You can buy no hot food, but you can't buy a sandwich, but we'll give you all the pieces of the sandwich, and then you can just
and then
do it or don't. It's
the bigger picture here is what we've also been talking about this entire time, and Time Traveler brings it up in the chat just now, that Utah is currently building a concentration camp. Don't want to mince words on that. For homeless people.
You can't just lay that sentence on me like that. Holy shit!
It's true. Had you not heard about this? It's happening. It's a forced labor camp, and it has been described as such with just different terms.
So they take homeless people and they're putting them in a labor camp?
Yes. Yeah, it's not established yet. It's being built, and it is a forced labor camp. It is meant to round up homeless people and put them in this camp. This has been very clear about this. Like, it's Stephen Miller TM all over it, right? But like they have said, yes, people will be forced to work. That doesn't fucking make any sense. It doesn't work. People aren't homeless because they want to be. You're sure you'd find a very small percentage of people who are like, hell yeah, I love this life, right? So like, that's been the ultimate goal, and that's what we've been saying this entire time, is when you create an atmosphere of instability, you force people into homelessness, or possibly even, I don't like to give this argument any weight, because this is what they want you to think, is like, oh, everybody's going to start stealing, there's going to be riots, blah 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 blah. They want you to think that, but they're hoping it will happen so that they can again criminalize actually put criminal charges to being poor. And then when these more and more people become homeless, then they can criminalize, you can't sleep on the street here, you can't make a camp here. And instead of giving them resources, they put them in these labor camps, because then what do you get? Free prison labor. And then all of the major corporations hire the prisons to give them the laborers. Like, so they pay prisons, and then for basically free labor. So that's what this is. This has always been about funneling people, funneling the most vulnerable class of people before even things got this bad, and they will get worse, funneling them into the prison system one way or another to make them into forced labor. So like that's unquestionable about what's happening. And now we are reaching the point where that is being mobilized and happening. And there is a camp setting up. And don't for a second think that that's going to be the only one, or that this is not also tied to the fact that there's major cop cities in every major, state at this point. Not major state, but like pretty much every state has one. I don't know if they have multiple ones in multiple cities, but we know that there's pretty much at least one major cop, militarized cop city in each state at this point. We have it.
The way the Google AI summarizes this is pretty funny, where it says Utah does not have a labor camp in quotes specifically for the homeless. Rather, the state is developing large-scale homeless resource centers and exploring policies that involve
homeless resource center. How sweet.
Stricter accountabilities and work requirements for individuals receiving certain types of government, basically, such as SNAP. Basically, if you are getting food stamps, they have a stricter work requirements. And then like you're saying, if they mess it up, then you end up in jail. The goal being to get you in jail, where they then make you work for free. So no, they're not doing a labor camp. They're just eventually getting you into a type of a prison or camp where you then do labor.
Yeah,
for free.
Call it what you want to call it. A resource camp, super cute. Okay, great.
But it's only 1,300 beds.
No? All right then.
There's 1,300 beds. I'm like, that doesn't seem like, seems like there's way more homeless people than 1,300.
Yeah, this is the experimental phase of it. It's like basically seeing if they're going to be allowed to get away with it, And what's that? The thing that was in Arizona, that Joe Arpaio thing, like the work camp that was in
Tent City.
Yeah, the Tent City work camp that was like literally in the desert. And
Tent City has a tiny bit of nuance to it in that you were allowed to leave on weekends, but it depends. That's the thing. And they also it cut your you would get a reduction on your sentence if you volunteered to it was voluntary. You didn't. Okay, they say it was voluntary. I'm not certain that 0 people weren't just ended up there without being asked about it.
Voluntary.
But it cuts
do this.
I think you serve half time. Like if you get 2 years, you go to Tent City, it's only 1 year or something like that. And it's only the very low risk people are allowed to do it. But I still don't think you should do it. But it's funny because we know a friend of a friend was in Tent City for a month. And he's like, it wasn't so bad. And I'm like,
yeah.
It's very interesting.
So,
I still think we should not have Tent City, but it's funny that
right.
They're like, well, you see, it's not. They didn't
and
put you in the desert and poke you with sticks while you burned on fire, which is what it sounds like.
And here we are, we're kind of at this, I don't want to say it's an inflection point because of this only. You've been hearing me say that, but we are at an inflection point socially because eventually you can't bend anymore and you're going to have to reach a breaking point. Right now, the Marie Antoinette vibes are real strong with our government and what's going on in this whole ballroom nonsense. I don't give a shit what happens to the White House, burn it to the ground as far as I'm concerned. But I also don't like that Trump is the one that gets to tear it up. That makes me mad.
Well,
I find that disappointing for a lot of reasons. He's living my dream. So I think a lot of us feel that way. That place was built by slaves. Fuck it. So the thing of it is, and some of the worst things that have ever happened to this country were decided in that place. So, and continue to be. So, but that's the thing. Whether you want me to say it facetiously or say it in a historical context, we know what happened next. In the French Revolution, we know what happened next. So the issue is what is the ultimate, what happens here? When people start to get upset about stuff, when are you going to get angry enough? Are you going to get hungry enough? Are you going to get tired enough? There's a lot of people like me who just literally don't know what's going to happen. I'm trying to stretch every dollar. I'm trying to live like as frugally as possible. I haven't been, talking about holidays. I haven't been able to afford holidays in years. So, at this point, it's just trying not to end up in worst case scenario. And I know a lot of people are facing that now. So it's like, are you all ready to try and do something? Because you've heard me talk about general strikes. You've heard me talk about boycotts. And it's literally as simple as we agree on the day and we don't shop at Walmart for that day. It is literally that simple. Or even less, everybody doesn't go on social media for a day. Like when they lose that revenue, they're going to be a lot more vocal and a lot more willing to make deals and stop dictating policy, to the point that we, are in this situation. And you actually absolutely have the tech companies to thank for why we are in the situation that we're in. And also, obviously like the pharmaceutical companies and the medical companies and things like this, anything that can, the reason that like none of this works it also is because the private equity firms are buying up utilities, buying up all the houses. Everything is an absolute complete through and through fucking mess, and nobody thought that it could get this bad or that it would, especially if you've been around for a while. If you lived in the 80s or the 90s, and the 90s were terrible but the 80s were great economically, basically, and 70s were horrible. Like if you've lived in different eras of things, like things have kind of up and down, but since basically the 90s, things have just been in a really hard decline to this point. So
part of that, and this will spin me into my other thing here. Part of that's because it's not that we've run out of countries to invade, but the global situation looks a bit different. As long as your capitalist system is able to, if your money is in a closed system where it's just people circulating a little economy like amongst themselves, you can't like develop capital like out of it in the same way that if you are going into other places and kind of like extracting capital from other places, that's how you can like be more effectively concentrate and that's how you get your empire going. So as long as your empire is constantly expanding, it's doing well and everything goes pretty, hey, look at this, we got money and food, everybody in the center is having a party, right?
And then what happens when you run out of countries to invade?
Or if somebody stops you, like if you lose a couple of these wars, shit starts going downhill. And we haven't really won a war since the Civil War, as I like to say. So why are we? We've been talking about Venezuela for the last couple of weeks, but it seems here I saw this. Here's the headline itself will. There it is. Nigeria confused by Trump invasion threat. Where's the one I like better? No, not that one. Showtime, is that it?
One at the top, yeah. I think it's Showtime.
Oh,
no, it's at the bottom. It's here. Nope.
This is a whole different one. There we are.
I don't know. Maybe this one? No. All right, I don't know.
Just going back to presentation.
We don't know this. We don't know.
It's not presentation. Home screen? That's fine. Nigeria confused by Trump invasion threat. Trump has claimed... See, there was some exciting visual effects for all of you. Trump has claimed the country is persecuting Christians.
Nope, that's not it.
I
found it. Oh, there it is. It's Showtime, or it's home screen, and then you got to click the one on the bottom.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah, okay.
So we see stop the killings or face military action. What happened? President Donald Trump said on Saturday that U.S. may take military action in Nigeria to stop the killing of Christians. This reminds me of the common thing where it's like usually America doesn't really give a shit about Africans, right? But like suddenly we really care about this one specific group, kind of like how like usually America doesn't care about the Chinese and doesn't really care about Muslims, but specifically Chinese Muslims, the ones in Xinjiang, like they suspiciously are like, we have to defend this one specific group of Chinese people. For here it's like, wow, suddenly you care about the killing of black Christians when it's over in Nigeria? What? Why do we care about this?
Right? Yeah.
We don't care about that when it happens at home. Why do we care when it happens in Nigeria? He also threatened to immediately stop all aid and assistance to the West African country, whose population of more than 230 million is split almost evenly between Christians and Muslims. Nigerians were baffled by Trump's ire and, quote, described a mixture of confusion and fear as they, quote, tried to decipher, a lot of quotes in this, his threat, the Washington Post said. who said what? Well, I'm not going to read all of this, but you get the idea. We're talking about, and you might hear about, like, in South Africa, all the white farmers are being killed, and in Nigeria, all the Christians are being killed. Attack our cherished Christians. It's like, why are we spinning up support of? Why is he talking about going to Nigeria? It might have something to do with this. This is YouGov, which Nicolette has talked about before, where you go and you share your opinions on things. You do polls.
I am begging people on the left to join. You will get money or gift cards if you want them, but more importantly, the right is dominating these, and they tie into the media in different corporations. So you really need to help turn the tides on this.
So the fact that you, if you're correct here, that this is a more conservative-leaning opinion poll place, that makes these polls even more interesting. Because if you're looking here, what is it? Half of Americans don't have an opinion about Maduro, and nearly all who do view him unfavorably. But it's like you see most people like don't care.
Yeah, don't even know. Most people couldn't find Venezuela on a map.
People don't care, and that's my whole point here. You don't even have to have an opinion on this. Good, bad, it doesn't matter. It shouldn't matter to any of us. It's not my business what's going on in Venezuela. I wish them the best of luck. If they want to do a deal that helps us both out, sweet. But otherwise, we have problems here at home. Not sure if U.S. would be better if Maduro remains president or is overthrown. So, like, the gray is the not sure, and then, like, should stay president, and then, you know, like 30%, maybe 40% amongst 40% of Republicans think it'd be better if he was. So even most Republicans are like, I don't know, Maduro, would it be better if he was president?
And right now everybody is so wrapped up in what's going on here domestically, like they can't put their heads around this.
The fun ones start here, where you get stuff where it's like divided about whether or not there should be ships deployed, and it's like. Somewhat strongly, it's like 60% of Democrats think we should not be putting boats out there. 30%, but it's certainly not a vast majority thinks we should have ships there. How many would oppose? Boom! Look at all these orange bars. 48% of Republicans oppose, strongly or somewhat, oppose invading Venezuela. Right. Like, nobody wants to go to war with fucking Venezuela.
Nobody, and also it's not just like people don't see the bigger picture, which obviously this is for their oil, it's for their resources, it's, you know, like that's the whole thing. So like, but they also, like, if they did know that, say they're, you know, some of this accounts for people who were in Iraq and are, you know, in different things, like they know that there are spoiled, also know that they're not going to benefit from them.
You don't want to do,
you might have
Vietnam but in Spanish, like. See, this is the moment where I'm not sure if it's me or Nicolette going out.
I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out.
Are you back now? You were in slow motion for a second.
Maybe.
And now you're in fast motion.
Maybe. Gains and gains and losses and losses.
I think you're catching back up to yourself. But anyway, you see that the opposition of military force, like even amongst Republicans, like only 34% of Republicans strongly or somewhat support using military force to overthrow the president of Venezuela. A third don't know, and then more than a third say no, which I would definitely agree with. Like,
that's a really large percentage, just a third of I don't know.
It's a lot, because most people don't have opinions on Venezuela. They don't know what the hell's going on there. Like, I'm inclined to support anybody who the U.S. doesn't like. I shouldn't say that. That makes you sound very, very shallow. It's not just like that, but it seems if you take that betting line, you're going to be accurate more than if you go along with what the U.S. state says. Every time I go, oh yes, U.S. state, that person is super evil, I believe you. You then look into it a little and go, oh, it's because he didn't want to do this oil deal, or oh, he didn't want to do this frickin' lithium whatever. Like, we were talking about invading Mexico 2 years ago, for God's sake, because someone got killed by the cartel. It's like, why do you suddenly care about?
They don't care about drugs. Like, headline here, they don't care. There's a bigger picture.
Saudi Arabia. We love Colombia that actually makes fentanyl or whatever. Like,
right, yeah. There's a much bigger picture to all of this, and it's their resources, and that's why things are going on in the way that they're going on in Israel. That's why with Israel, not in Israel. Israel doesn't exist, but that's why they're allowed to do what they're doing. They're our proxy. That's why we propped up the Ukraine to try to acquisition resources, land in some way. And then you got to have a villain if you're gonna do these things. You can't just go and take over somewhere. So that's where Putin comes in. That's where that's where the Palestinians are the villain. That's where
They've started doing the Zelensky, the dark side of Zelensky. They've started doing those stories. Like mainstream press is switched back to Ukraine as spooky and a little evil, actually.
Yeah, no, yeah. He's got rid of all the opposition parties, and there's no dissenting opinions in the media anymore, and blah blah blah. It's like,
The shit I
interesting
was
that.
saying that got me destroyed online.
Yeah, right. They're not good. They're not the good guys. Headline. Okay. So, and then also that's now the new villain is Maduro. We've been, our country's been up his ass for a long time anyway, because he won't play ball with us, and it's their country. They don't have to. And now, the America at this point, the U.S. is turning the screws and trying to threaten him by blowing up, bringing in the warships and blowing things up around, these fishing boats around there, and saying we're gonna invade you, and they're like, we're gonna fight you if you do. And as Jared has mentioned, and we have talked before, is America doesn't win wars. They just make money off of it for a while, and then they go somewhere else and start shit. America's not the winner of anything. They're just the world bullies of everything.
There's even a couple oil companies, or at least one, I think Shell who was not happy about the Venezuelan pressure either, because they were actually in the middle of doing a pretty decent. They're like, no, we like the deal actually that we were doing with Maduro right now, and you're kind of fucking that up for us. If you go to war, we're not going to get any oil for a while. So like, so that also might be a part of why we're going to Nigeria now.
And if these companies, these corporations dictate policy through and through. So, the reason that it hasn't just been full on, here we go, is obviously because the oil companies are clearly him-hawing about like that they, because they're going to be in connection with the American government directly, right? And it's going to be at their behest if we actually go and make a full overture, a full military overture in there to see if it's worth it. Do they want to? Can we afford to stop production? No. Can we make our own deals? So they're also, again, in contact with, Maduro and the government there in Venezuela to figure out who can offer the better deal. If we take it, well, we have to wait. It might take some time. There could be some bloodshed. We could look worse. But it's like, if we just make a deal here, could we do better? And we skip all that stuff, and people won't talk about us. It's basically what they're figuring out. Because again, the collusion between them and what they ultimately say to go and do. Because again, if say Trump has some rogue idea of like, oh, we're going to do it, we're going to take it, it's going to happen, I'm going in on Tuesday, and then like they like, wait, we don't want you to do that because we're and we're working on this deal, and you'll get something out of it if you just hold on. Then obviously he's going to do what they tell him to do. So that's literally how our government works, and that's the problem. This is the full expression of Reaganomics. This is where we were going with this when you do piece and parcel off the government to corporations, and that started under Reagan. It accelerated under Clinton like crazy, and then now we're here. So you can thank everybody from that point forward for the last 40 years for getting us into this position.
Does it make sense why I keep harping on how the government, the elected representatives, the people we see in the government, are not the top layer of decision making? How
no,
it's
they're
the
just the
corporations above
figurehead.
that?
They're just the faces.
How would you end up with a government where we cut checks to General Mills? Maybe if General Mills is a bit more important than do you see, like, who else would make a system where, hey, according to the rules of my game, I just receive money in a circle forever. Like, no matter what I do, if I make shitty cereal, if I make good cereal, I continue to get money forever because I'm an essential part of the system that you built under my instructions, basically.
Right. It's like the difference between a house of cards and a house of tissue paper. The thing can fall apart so easily. It's barely working anyways. And then the more cuts that the government makes to either local or in the national level, they make to these programs, then that means the less money that potentially would be going into these corporations' pockets. So don't think that they are just going to be, oh, we've been here for so long, we could never leave. We love it, America, hoorah. No, they did not get there because they were good people. They are going to, if they're not already, making deals. Because obviously, you can buy like the stuff in like the UK or like in France or wherever. You can buy these stupid sugar cereals or whatever, and that's just an example. But you could buy this shit anywhere. So it's like obviously they're going to talk about what can another place offer me, because the one thing the government in America cannot do is retaliate against these corporations, because like if they say they're going to leave, we'll put a tariff on it. So what? We've got the rest of the whole entire rest of the world to deal with,
and they're
that
so
is what a lot of
divested into your BlackRocks and Vanguards. They don't have a nation, quote, U.S. companies. Like they can just shift their weight. Like, and I'm over here, and I'm fucking in the cloud now. Oh, I'm a Bitcoin.
And that's what we've been talking about for a while too. Like these companies, they will pick up stakes and they will leave.
They already most of them have most of their shit outside for tax reasons already anyway.
Right. And it's just like, and it's not like, oh, they're just gonna like, oh, they've got so many other options, but they literally do.
They think they're gonna build a fucking island of superior people who are gonna live off on their
Yeah. Well, I mean, here's the thing. Like, if you think that like, oh, well, okay, the only people they can deal with is also super rich nations, correct? So that leaves like China, but that also leaves like, Saudi Arabia and the UAE. Like that is the biggest like haven for wealth. That's real money.
I mean, India's sitting there too.
Yeah, and that's real money. Okay, like you can put like, and that's again where a lot of the whole issues are coming out of. We were shooting back and forth like what we know about what's going on in Sudan, which is I haven't really had the bandwidth to take all that in, but apparently the UAE is what is behind what's going on there, the starvation and the slavery, the exploitation, because that's a tale as old as time, in a lot of African nations and in Sudan in particular. Apparently they're the ones that are behind that at this time. It has been other people at different times. It's a very exploitable situation. Africa is super rich with different, things like gold and minerals and different things that you need to make weapons and crap like this, uranium and whatnot. And we've talked about it before when we had a conversation about Nigeria some time back. But the point is there are other options with a lot more ready cash that have much more flexible tax situations, because even though the corporations here aren't getting taxed the way they ought be, they're also like there's other ones that are way more willing to play ball and give them anything that they want, so, and I know that those people are in these big corporations' ears, and you should know that too. So after this next couple of months, and it's not like America's never had it hard before. Like we've been in like post-war situations and war situations where nothing was going anywhere. But then again, that's why policy kind of changed to favor these, the situations to make it look like it was for people, but then actually it was going to subsidize these corporations. That's their enticement for staying here. So if you keep eking away at the corporations and you start enslaving, the lower class of people, those corporations aren't even going to be around to use that slave labor. They're just going to leave. And so in a couple of months, we're going to see, I think just the it's not going to be 100% different than now. I mean, it's just a couple of months away, but I think beginning of next year, things are going to be looking a lot different. And, we're going to see what that's really all about.
It's what's inevitably going to force change. It just doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be good. It's just something has to happen because the thing is being moved in a slightly different direction. Do we go into another Great Depression? Because that's why we have our meager. I can't remember. I'm half paraphrasing a freaking. Somebody put this in a good way, where it's people are starting to remember that our meager socialist state was put into place to fix the Great Depression, how we used to have famines and stuff, and now and that also was to quell a shockingly militant left. We are the reason Labor Day, the Haymarket affair, people in Chicago getting gunned down because they wanted a 40-hour work week, etc. Freaking Monday through Friday normal jobs that we take for granted.
And a lot of unions were driving those pushes as well. So what did America do? It eked away at the unions and sent jobs overseas so that they
offered a tiny little weird safety net that we have that's been disassembled since. It's gotten worse and worse, and we have these shreds of it left, and it's that's why we stopped having riots all the time and shit. And so what happens when that goes away? Do we return to that? Does the left fucking like a phoenix rise from the ashes from this just complete ineffective nonsense that we have now? But hey, we're gonna vote in Mom Donnie, and that's gonna fix everything, and
right,
gonna be great.
That's there's a lot of weight on this going on. I don't think it's possible for him not to win. Let me be clear, because if he doesn't somehow, then you guys need to riot, honestly,
Probably
because
win, and that means he'll probably do absolutely nothing that he
right.
was talking about. And even though, like, keep in mind, a lot of the stuff they're having him campaign on, like the whole, like, what do you think of Gaza? It's like he's the mayor of a city. He doesn't get to stop bombs from, I don't know, are they shipping from New York? Maybe you could shut down the port. That'd be.
But with
Otherwise,
his level
just
of
New York shit.
popularity right now, because he's not been able to actually be in office and do anything or not do anything, he's got the nation's attention in a big way. So there's a lot of emphasis being put on him. I was like, okay, well, this could be the beginning for him, and then a couple cycles down the road, we might see him running for president. Do you know how old he is?
Let me see him expropriate some property. Let me see him like freaking.
Do you know how old he is?
No, I can look it up real fast though.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like, yeah, I mean, I'm sure he's over 35, but you have to.
Oh my God, he's my age, like exactly. Born in 1991.
So he's not
34.
Oh, he's 34. So he's not even he's not even eligible to be president yet. You have to be over 35 years old. Yeah. So
that's okay. Fucked up. He's my age. I just got hit by a
yeah, right.
Like a brain
kind of crazy. Like I'm having a little bit of a crisis here. You just kind of Armageddon my brain.
I'm the age of a mayor.
Yeah, it's like, what am I doing with my life?
I mean, he is young. He's the youngest.
Yeah, no, I didn't realize that. Like, I thought he was older for some reason, but I thought he was, I don't know. Anyways, but point is that, obviously this is like a grooming situation, which I don't like that term because it's really like used for.
It's an audition. They might run him for president in 10 years.
Right, if he can maintain his popularity, because here's the thing that happened with Bernie and AOC. Not only were they like really tramped down by the opposition, like, and their own alleged party mates, like really like stopped them, any kind of thing going forward with them. They were also exposed for being liars and frauds. So in big ways, lying about their past. Jared's talked about anytime that Bernie gets a little too excited, they're like, "Hey, your wife," and then he stops. So they've got dirt on him. It's impossible to be a career politician and not have some skeletons that they can.
I mean, Mom Donnie just comes from a lot of money. Like,
right.
It's not a secret. Like,
right. And that's the thing too. And I don't think people would necessarily be that like bothered about that. Cause like, okay, obviously you've been in the upper echelon of society for a long time, whatever. This is the thing that those people do. This is not a rag to riches story when you're
That's why I won't be surprised when he betrays us. But if he
doesn't,
absolutely. I'll be like,
it's already happened. This is not social. He's being accused of being a radical left, being a socialist. He's not. At the very, very most, he's a democratic socialist, and that is not on the same spectrum. That's a Democrat, and that's like a slightly more liberal Democrat than a regular Democrat. Okay, so like we will see if he sustains this situation.
Man.
Yeah, right. Good luck is right. Like prove us wrong for real. But this could be his audition for becoming a potential presidential candidate.
He'll almost certainly end up as at least a senator unless he has some like sex scandal or something.
Right. Yeah. Something like that. Like they don't have anything on him at this stage, which is good. I mean, if he can somehow keep anything from happening, or he can withstand any kind of threat against himself or his family, then we'll see. But they might.
Obama. He's got a Deutsche Bank funder, like we were talking about last week.
Yeah, not great. So we will see. But I think
I have seen New York ballots today, just the physical ones. People are taking pictures, and I'm like, those look fucked up. They have like a grid. There's like an A, B, C. Oh, here I can. I'll flip this on my screen for 2 seconds. Then I got to get off the dang stream. But over here, where is it? See, it's like a grid with like A, B, C, D, blah. And this is like Democrat, Republican. So you end up with like gaps in the grid, which is weird. And I saw some people have shit over here. Some have it over here. I'm like, this is. Why? Why does it look?
Why does it look like that? It doesn't have to. Yeah, obviously it's meant to confuse people. I mean, I feel like people that might have like reading issues or dyslexia would probably struggle with that.
They were complaining about, they're like, Zoran is the first name. I mean, Democrat is the A. I don't know. I think they randomize them in Arizona, where just like every ballot, the names are randomized the order they get in.
I found out like on the Indiana ballots, like they have little symbols next to them, and next to Republican it's an eagle, and next to the Democrat it's a chicken, and I was like, all right, okay, like I don't like them either, but like give me a fucking break. Okay, so it turns out like I found out like years later, just watching a random episode of like ambiently of Antiques Roadshow, and then somebody was like, this old poster has a chicken on it, and this is the sign or this is the symbol for Democrats in Indiana, and it's like, are you fucking kidding me? Like that is like they really, that's real. They really have been the chicken.
Did they adopt it themselves, or do they put it on them? Like, I
I
assume
don't
you're
know.
allowed to
I
choose
don't
your
like.
own
I
symbol.
thought it was because it's a Republican state. Basically, I thought that they were like, we pick eagle and you are chicken. You know, like that's like I'm like,
It'd be really
"Shut the
funny
fuck up."
rules.
Like, no, that's actually a historical thing. I had no idea that was a thing. But you know, you learn
probably
shit
about-
from weird sources.
It's probably about like poultry farmers or something. If I had to just take a guess.
Yeah, maybe. I don't, honestly, I don't know where it comes from. They didn't really give the context of that. It's just like, I had never heard that in any kind of context before. I just thought it was some shitty Republican thing.
It'd be amazing if you got to choose your opponent's symbol. Like what weird rules? Like, look, we won the election. We get to choose your mascot now. It's like, that seems fucked
that'd
up.
be great. So, yeah, and then, like, there's a lot of, I don't know. People here seem pretty upset about how things are going. They don't like the governor for the most part, but a lot of people still do. So we're seeing how, and there's been a lot of really bad things here. They just recently, they killed the credit for. God, I don't know what it was. It's like for childcare and for school. Like there used to be vouchers for that. Like state would like pay some of it or something like that, and now they're not doing it at all. So like. Yep. Yeah, so things are going great here. And that's another thing, and I've told you guys about this before, that Indiana is a bellwether state in a big way. People don't realize it because it's like, who cares about Indiana? Where is it even? Who gives a shit? And again, who gives a shit is true. But we are usually the first state ready to pass really horrible legislation with almost no pushback from people. That will ultimately end up becoming used on the national stage. Don't forget about Mike Pence. He was Indiana's own. So, he's really quiet now. So he doesn't want to get killed, I think, probably by other Republicans. So,
all right, it is about the top of the hour. I need to leave my desk. Thank you very much for having me again, Nicolette. I'll be here on next Tuesday. I'm here for like the next several weeks. I am.
Yes, and next week he's going to. We're going to do a bonus hour, and he's going to treat us to a reading of some interesting information. So we're going to go. Class will be in session.
It's going to be Socialism, Scientific and Utopian. I was Utopian and Scientific by Frederick Engels. We're going to read a big old chunk of it.
And then we are going to. We'll be right around that same time. We'll say it is next week. So our main show, maybe we'll do some utopian topics because we'll be basically celebrating right around that time is our 2-year anniversary of Social Contract. So we'll maybe talk about utopia, and then he'll tell us why it's not possible.
And I'm here to show you the historic examples of, oh, you think of that? Yeah, it's been tried. Here's what happened. Like,
yeah, here's what happens.
All right.
So, yeah.
Goodbye.
All right. Take care, Mr. Jared. We will see you next week for a double header. So yeah, you're just with me right now. But yeah, I wanted a chance to be able to close out, not just like shut down super fast. So yeah, and again, Time Traveler points out that the governor of Indiana, Mike Braun, got himself a helipad so that he can live outside the city. And that's kind of the idea of that's where money is going to, being allocated to. Now, if you listen to somebody like me on the left, who's going to sit here and say, money doesn't matter. It's infinite. They just write the money anyways. It's not even on the gold standard. There's nothing to back it up. Fine, whatever. But you need to be making sure that people are eating. You need to be making sure that kids can go to school. You need to be making sure that, which is, again, a part of the plan because you're further impoverishing people. You're pushing people out of being able to work, out of being able to send their kids to school, which, obviously impacts their overall education in life and their standing in life. But and not that I'm saying that's like in any way a good thing. It's obviously not. But at the same time, I hope that also furthers on the idea that we have generationally, especially like millennials and the Gen Zs, have been really tricked into having to go the route of college, like the college route, the college degree. You can see right now in live action how that is nothing and has not worked out in any possible way for anyone. No one is safe except for tradespeople at this point. And I think probably robots are going to eventually take over a lot of the building trades and stuff like that. But, and I'm not saying everybody go out there and be a plumber. That's not for everyone, obviously. But I think now I'm hoping that the kids that are aging into college and higher education at this point are not being suckered into that, spend billions of dollars and get yourself into massive amounts of debt for a great portion of your life for a degree that ultimately is going to basically do nothing for you. I could see it if you're going to do it in medicine, but again, that is ultimately, I think, going to go the same route. No one really is safe at this point. Eventually, it's going to come for everyone. So really, the only thing that we can do is start using our collective power and our collective voices to, let our country know that this isn't okay. And you really can do something as simply as everyone agreeing, okay, on this particular day, no one is going to go on social media just for a day, or this particular day, no one is going to shop at Walmart, because the only way you can reason with these corporations is monetarily, right? You could only get their attention if you take away their money. So you might say like, well, I can't not buy groceries for a month. That can't work out. Nobody would do that. That's ridiculous. And if you see people trying to say we're going to boycott it for this amount of time, that's not realistic. So but what we do need, the left is severely lacking, is organization and organizers. I know that there are a lot of people out there who know how to organize people, who know how to rally people, who have large followings. Maybe they do this for their job or a job that they lost. Lend your expertise to this kind of thing, to start getting the word out there, like talk to people and say, what do we need to tell the people to do? And then try to maybe take a consensus, work with some people on the left, whoever you like, and then start to see like, okay, let's agree on this date, a month from now, we're going to spend all this time telling people promoting the idea of don't shop at Walmart on this day, don't go on Facebook on this day. And then that's where it can start. Yeah, things can get more serious down the road if need be, but really it really is that simple. So when you hear people talk about general strike and boycotts, that really is the only thing that actually works in terms of getting these people's attention. You got to bypass the government, because they're just a figurehead, they're just a puppet. They're doing the bidding of these corporations, as we've said time and time again, and at least 100 times on this episode. So just keep that in mind. Like, there are ways we can, fight back against things. And I have to say, like, okay, so if you're living in a life where you're completely untouched by this, you don't use food stamps, you don't know anybody who does, you don't care if it gets cut. Okay. You haven't lost your job yet. You're not worried about it. You're not thinking about it. You have your fingers in your ears. Like, that time, your time is coming. So that's the thing. And if you are somebody who is affected, this it impacts a major swath of the American public, whether it's joblessness or lack of being able to find a job or having to use EBT. All of these things work together. And now I want to try to tell you, I know this is hard if you have kids, but like, you might have to like look at the holiday season as like maybe not something that you're used to. I'm not happy that I've had to give it up, but I have had, and I've survived it, and I don't like it, and I really hate it, because I was always a big Christmas person. I loved it, and now it's like miserable. I won't lie about that. But maybe, together, if you limit your shopping and you limit your spending just as much as you can anyways, like if you say you've got a lot of expendable income or whatever and you're not bothered, like, but you think about it, like maybe I could support some other people in not doing this. And also, speaking of community support, if you do have any kind of expendable money that you want to do something with, donate money to food pantries and food kitchens and things like that. They don't need dusty shit out of the back of your cupboard. They don't. What they need is money, because they can buy things in wholesale that your couple of cans can't provide. It's not like they don't want it, period. It's just that really doesn't help. So don't, like, if you're thinking about doing anything, give money. Just give money. Like, even if it's $20 or something, give money. Don't bother with whatever crap you can find. They don't need that. They don't want that. I hope to see. Also, I don't know how they really structure these things, or if one really differs from another. I don't really have that knowledge, but from what I see on like things like the news, they buy a lot of cheap stuff that's, maybe like will fill you up, but it's not healthy. So I hope maybe if, those monetary donations will go to buying more healthy things for people, because things that, when people have to rely on food banks or turn to these charity situations or mutual fund situations, people with dietary restrictions and allergies and stuff, they really can't use this, that resource. And I know that they know that, but they're just trying to help as many people as possible. So I don't fault them for doing what they think is best, but I hope that there can be a turn towards more healthfully based stuff. And I'm not saying like, oh, they shouldn't give you a cake or they shouldn't give you a soda. No, nothing like that. I'm just saying that like that there could be more options if people donate enough money, that there could be more options for healthy things. So somebody could say like, I can't take the sugar cereal, but I do need some vegetables or whatever, or I need something that like, maybe do you have organic oats that I could have instead, or maybe they could supply that kind of a thing. Based on, because there's people out there with allergies and sensitivities and children with allergies and sensitivities and, that just can't take advantage of that kind of a resource. So again, if you know or are an organizer, and you have these maybe these growing leftist sympathies, get in here and talk to us. It doesn't have to be us, Jared and myself specifically, but just pass the word along, right? Like if you know somebody, if you are somebody that specializes in this sort of crowdsourcing type of a thing, then get in there and talk to some leftists and get some good ideas about what needs to be done, how we could do it, and then we could combine our expertise, because that's something that we are severely lacking on this side of the spectrum. We need more people that know how to reach more people, because you could probably guess that we're us and people like us are pretty regularly censored from a lot of social media, and with now the algorithm on Twitter is completely AI at this point, or that it's in the AI rollout. So that's going to stop people from seeing things the way that they always had before, which was through likes and retweets and things like that. So it's going to take an extra step to reach people and talk to people and spread this kind of knowledge. So if it's even going to be usable after a certain point, which it may not be. I don't know about that, but that's where we are. And especially coming up now, people aren't used to going without holidays and things like that. And you really don't get used to it, I can tell you, but it is survivable, unfortunately. So maybe in a couple of months of really stressing the system, whether you want to or you just or you have to, maybe we'll see some forward progress, or maybe people will be more willing and ready to participate in some of these things, because they want you to steal, they want you to do crimes, they want to prove themselves right, to say, see, we had to militarize the city, see, we have to give the cops extra cops, see, we have to double down on this. And don't think for a second that like the grocery stores are your friend. You may have heard a story about like a couple of grocery stores offering discounts to EBT people, and then the Trump administration saying, telling them that they couldn't do that, which I don't even know if they're allowed to tell them they can't do that, but they can threaten their eligibility or something like this, whatever. If that's even true, because I really don't believe any grocery stores were actually, offering any discounts to people or whatever. But if you want to hit these people, where it hurts, it's going to be in the pocketbook. So hopefully, even if this is just only a small message getting out, just and you're not really affected by it, try to spend your money wisely, try to spend it thoughtfully, because you are next. Even if you are not in a good place now, you won't be for very long if things continue on the way that they're going to continue on. This is going to be a hard holiday season. You're going to probably have to have some pretty hard conversations with your kids, and I hate that. It should be a lot better than it is now. We're just really going to have to work together to get through this, and boycotts are really the only way to do it. So we're about the top of the hour here, and so that I don't have any more hang-ups. Technically, I think we'll go ahead and cut this down. So join us next week for an anniversary episode. Well, if everything's not too horrible, we could maybe talk about some fun stuff. Throw us some questions, comments. If there's some topics you want us to talk about, hit us up on social and let us know. We might be able to kind of talk about our own versions of Utopia, and then in the second hour we'll do a bonus hour, and Jared will educate us as to why that cannot be. So we'll see you next week. My new book, The Big Bad Wolf, is out and available in hardback, paperback, and digital download on Amazon. So go and get it and leave me a review if you've read it, or if you're going to read it. I would appreciate it, because again, no job, and I'm getting really good feedback from people. People are reading it. Jared's reading it, and people are reading it along, and they haven't finished it yet. They're sending me messages saying that they really are enjoying it, and they like the way it's written. And so I love to hear that, and I would love for other people to hear that on Amazon so that they will buy the book. And that in my Redbubble shop are kind of the only way that I'm making any money right now, and nobody's spending anything extra. But again, I will say this: if you are interested in getting a copy of the book but you can't afford it, and I understand, just reach out to me and I'll make sure you get a copy. So no questions asked. You don't have to pass some sort of purity test or something about I understand. I understand is my point. So just reach out to me and I will hook you up. So with that being said, we will see you next week for a double show and celebrate our anniversary. And take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and stay well, and try to stay calm. Decisions made out of fear, whatever it is going to be the wrong decision. And we just got to keep our heads level about this. And then if you know any organizers that are, big into, rallying people, send them our way. So, all right. Take care, everybody. And we'll see you next week.